All right, welcome back to the second part of this lecture on basic functions and formulas. Okay, so in the first part, we've dealt with mathematical operators. I've shown you how mathematical operators are presented and how the corresponding operators are presented in Google Sheets or spreadsheets in general. And we've performed all of these calculations using them to explain the concept of performing addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. In fact, using spreadsheet as a calculator. Okay, so having said that, I think it's high time for us to go to our data set as we begin talking about some inbuilt Google Sheets functions. Other ways of performing calculations will be dealt with during the live session. For now, let's talk about some basic Google Sheets functions. Okay, functions in Google Sheets. Functions. So there are several functions you can find in Google Sheets. Now, I'll just relate Google Sheets with Excel so that when you have opportunity to work with Excel, in case you've not worked with Excel before, you would be able to relate both Google Sheets and Excel. You see the difference and you see the similarities. In Excel, if you click on this FX, right, the FX will pop up the function tab. In fact, I think I should just open that right now and show you how that works in Microsoft Excel. All right, so here is Microsoft Excel. What I'm going to do is to just put this on one tab and then put my Google Sheet on the other tab so we can see them side by side. So in Microsoft Excel, for instance, when you come to the, let's close all of this and so that we can see it clearly. Great. When you come to the FX, you can see insert function. So that is the FX here in Google Sheets. So by my left, you have Google Sheets. By my right, you have Microsoft Excel. So FX, clicking on FX will show you the insert function dialog from Excel. And that will give us the list of functions, inbuilt functions that exist in both Excel and Google Sheets. So most of these functions you see here, they are present in both Excel and Google Sheets. But when you try to do that in Sheets, when you click, you see nothing is happening, right? Google Sheets do not pop up those list of functions that are the inbuilt functions in Sheets. So, well, I haven't had the maybe the opportunity. Do I call it opportunity, or I have not thought about getting how to show the functions? But I strongly believe there's a way you can find out all inbuilt functions in Sheets, but I have not thought about it and I've not had a reason to want to see all the inbuilt functions since I know them. But you are free to check Google. Just Google you can use Google to say how to view all all inbuilt functions in Sheets. So it's good to always research whenever you're learning stuff. You can just follow this link, and I believe there must be a way to see the list of inbuilt functions in Google Sheets, just as how we can view it here in Excel. So let's talk about some of those functions. I'm back to Excel, right? Click on FX to show all the list of functions. We have sum, average. Now, one beautiful thing about the functions here in Excel is that when you click on the function, it tells you what that function does and gives you the syntax. So here's the syntax of how to use the sum. So syntax is just a structured way of writing or using that particular function. So that is what syntax means. So in Excel, in spreadsheets, in Power BI, in SQL, you keep hearing things about syntax. The standard way of writing or of doing stuff. Okay, the standard way this programming language or this package understands how to perform a particular task. That is what syntax is all about in summary. So here's the sum syntax. That says sum number 1, comma number 2, comma dot dot dot. So this adds all the numbers in a range of cells. Then you have their average function. These are inbuilt functions, like I said earlier. You can say average in the brackets, number 1, comma number 2, comma dot dot dot. You can take the average of multiple numbers. Now this returns the average, that is arithmetic mean of its arguments, which can be numbers or names, arrays, or references that contain numbers. All right. So this is actually how to take the average. So like spreadsheet or Excel's rightly suggests here that this average that you're calculating is arithmetic mean. So the reason why arithmetic mean is put inside the bracket is because there are different types of average or mean. We have geometric mean, harmonic mean, we have assumed mean, as well as arithmetic mean. So when you use this function average, what you see is the arithmetic mean, all right, and not other types of means. Now you have the if function, very, very fantastic function to actually test condition. So it checks whether a condition is met and return one value if true and another value if false. Then hyperlink function creates a shortcut or jump to open a document stored in or stored on your hard drive or network server or on the internet. We have the count function, the max function, the sign function, the sum if, the MPT, the STD, that is standard deviation, and so on and so forth. So these are just a few functions that are shown here, right here, from this selected function list. But there are multiples. There are several other functions in Excel. So I'm still working on Excel, right? We still get back to Sheet. When you come to the most recently used function, you will see all the different class or groups of functions you can find in Excel or Google Sheets. You can find functions on financial reports or financial related functions, date and time related functions, math and trig, statistical functions, lookup and reference, database functions, text, logical, information, engineering functions, cube, compatibility, web. These are amazing different types of functions in different groups or areas. Now, most people will see Excel as just common spreadsheet package where you just enter information. Excel is actually beyond that. Google Sheets actually beyond that. Google Sheets and Excel, they have powerful tools or skills or ability to perform sophisticated data analysis projects. All right. Let's peep into some of the financial functions that we have. So for those who are financial experts, you should be able to relate with one or two of these functions that are listed here, right here. You can see we have the ACRINT or ACCRT. What does this actually measure? So this returns the accrued interest for a security that pays periodic interest. Can you see that? So that's what that does. This one returns the accrued interest for a security that pays interest at maturity. This particular function returns the prorated linear depreciation of an asset for each accounting period, and so on and so forth. Okay, I think I'm most familiar with the mathematical functions because I'm more of the mathematical person, even though some of these financial concepts or functions are also familiar. I'm also familiar with some of them. Okay, let's look at some math functions. So here we have the ABS, which takes the absolute value of any number, that is, it returns the positive value of all numbers. ACCOS, that is, it returns the arc cosine of a number. ACCOSH returns the inverse hyperbolic function of a number, hyperbolic cosine. This ACCOT returns the arc cotangent tangent of a number in radian or in the range between 0 to pi. So these are different. You have aggregate, you have Arabic, different mathematical function that you can actually use right here in Excel. So there are lots of inbuilt functions that I can play with, right? Both in Excel. These are text-related functions. Yeah, so having said that and having shown you all of those functions right here in Excel, let's just go back to Sheet and then continue to work with Sheet. Yes, because our focus is on Sheet. So the very first simple functions we will learn how to use here is the sum and the average. Okay, we'll learn how to use the sum and the average. So let's assume I want to add up all of these guys, all these numbers. So once you select the whole numbers here, and when you look at the bottom right of your screen, you will see sum. So Google Sheet has a way to automatically just sum up selected numbers and show you the result. And when you click here, you can see, you can even check the average. If it's the average you want to see, click on average, it shows the average. If it's the minimum you want to see, click, it shows the minimum among the range of numbers you've chosen is 2. The maximum among the range is 8. The number of values we've chosen, we highlighted is 6, so that is count. There are 6 values highlighted there. All right, and here is the sum and the rest. These are just summary statistics. Now we can also perform those summary statistics by, so these summary statistics that we have here, sum, average, mean, max, count. Let's also perform them. Let's take the sum, the average. Let's take the average, the minimum. This average isn't spelled correctly. The average, the minimum, all right, the maximum of those numbers, and then what else? And the count. All right, so we're going to perform this particular functions here in Excel. So in Sheet, I mean to say. Now don't forget, you always begin with equal to. So I start with equal to. Yeah, type in sum. So as I start typing in Google Sheets, it gives you a pop-up, an IntelliSense pop-up showing you the different types of sum that can be done or that can be calculated in Excel, in Sheets rather. We can calculate the sum. So the beautiful thing about it is that once you point your arrow to the function of interest, it shows you what it does just as a summary. So sum of a series of numbers and or cells. Sum if, a conditional sum across a range. We use a sum if to use condition. So if sum if this thing is equal to this thing, right? We see how to do that later. Then sum SQ, this takes the sum of squares. Sum ifs, this sums a range depending on multiple criteria. We have sum of squares of differences. We have sum of the differences of squares. We have the sum of the sums of squares. We have the sum of products of elements in two arrays. So these are different sums that you can take, but we want to work with the first one, sum. Now, once you choose sum, open bracket, sheet tells you, okay, add the first value, the second value, the third value, and the rest. So, want the first value to be D what? D2, comma, D3, comma, D4, comma, D5, comma, D6, comma, and D7. Then you close your bracket. So that is how to list all the values or all the cells that contain the numbers you want to sum. Press enter and that gives you the answer. That is equals 30. Okay, but imagine you have, say, 10,000 rows of values. Do you want to say that this is how you're going to be selecting each of the cells? My dear, you will just be there almost forever. So what is the smarter way to do this? The smarter way to do this is just say equal to sum, pick the first cell, put full column, and pick the last cell that contains the number you want to calculate. Oh, what have I done? I think I've done something wrong there. Oh, my bracket actually closed when I picked the first number. Oh, this is not working as I want it to work. Let's try that again. So I'm going to say equal to sum, pick the first cell, to pick the last cell, which contains D7. Okay, I think something's wrong with this sheet today. So equal to, maybe the sheet wants me to type it myself automatically, D2 to D7. You can actually type it yourself if you want. I only wanted to just use the click method. So D2 to D7, and that gives us the sum 30. And it also gives us a suggestion. Let's reject the suggestion. Now, other way to do it is just say equal to sum, click and drag over the range of values. Click and drag like this and say equal to, gives you the sum. So that's how to use sum in Excel. Now let's try average. The function is called actually average. It's actually called average. Average, select the range and close the bracket. So I did not select up to the sum. We don't select 30 with the range. Do it from D2 to D7. Enter. The minimum equal to, say give me the minimum. Minimum is mean. Mean of the range of values is 2. Equal to max of the range of values, and that gives what? That should be 8, right? Correct. Equal to count. Can you see the functions? As soon as I type, they appear. The range of values, and that counts 6. So these are the aggregates or summary statistics for all of these numbers that we have right here under number 1. So that's it. That's how to write the sum. Now, if I want to perform the same calculations to the second row, what do? Just do what is called autofill. By autofilling, by just clicking, you see this small circle here? This is called autofill or fill handle. Use the fill handle, drag over to the right, and that will also give you the sum of all the numbers right here. When you select the cell, you see it says sum of E2 to E7. That means that is the sum of all of these. So what I've just done is to copy the formula by cell reference using the auto or the fill handle function or tab button. Click drag, it gives you the average. Select, click drag, it gives you the minimum of the second cell. Click drag, it gives you the maximum of that column E. Click drag, it tells you how many numbers are stored there, which is also 6. So that is how to use the basic functions in Google Sheets. So that's pretty easy to do. So this is how to do basic function in Google Sheets. We're going to see how to now these functions we've learned. In the next video, the third video, I will perform some of the functions and try to just complete this table, and that will be your practice. That's what you're going to use to practice while you are watching this video. Thank you very much for watching this. I'll see you in the third part. See you next. Bye bye.